Hey, everyone, and welcome to The Difference, a podcast highlighting leaders who are making a difference in their teams, stores, and their communities. I am Alexis Whaley.
And I'm Drew Huller.
Hey, Drew. So I hear that you know our guest that's joining us today. Can you tell me a little bit about who that is?
Yeah, it's Tyler. He runs a store in Texas. And Tyler has been working with us for a couple of years. He was our very first teaming store.
Oh, wow.
And has had he's been down a journey. We had several different iterations of teaming, all of which I think he piloted in his store. So he gave us tons of feedback. So all store managers that are listening to this, you should thank him because he stopped us from doing things that did not work. And so he gave us a lot of great feedback and just a great guy. So we've used him in several different other things as well. And just a good leader with his team. I think that will come through today, just how much he strives to be a servant leader, and that comes through in everything that he does. So anyways, it's been a few months since I talked to him, so I'm really looking forward to it, and I think it's going to be a great conversation.
Awesome. I can't wait.
All right, so you've been in your store, Tyler. You've been in your store how long?
4.5 years.
4.5 years. Got it. So we came into your store from a people team how many years ago?
What was it, 2.5 years ago now?
2.5 years ago. So we strolled into town 2.5 years ago and turned your world upside down.
Yeah, you came in more like a wrecking ball than just
a wrecking ball. Well, let's keep that to ourselves, Tyler. Let's not go that far. Yeah, it was for sure. We had a short timeline. We came in and literally turned the store upside down from a process perspective, from a people perspective, and really tried to understand what this new future operating model was going to look like. And one of the things I just wanted to say here in this forum is thank you and the other store managers that helped us through that. We started, I think, with 8 stores, and in a matter of months, we were in the store operating in a completely different way. It's a big part of our job as leaders at Walmart. Change is inevitable. We hope we change, right? If we don't change, then we're not going to be around forever. So it's part of the job, but you did it with flying colors. So in this forum, I just want to say thank you.
Appreciate that.
So let's kind of walk through the journey, that 2.5 years. You've learned a lot. You've taught us a lot. And then if you look at how you lead now, or just even your routines, what's changed between now and then?
Everything has changed for me. The biggest thing is just how I manage. I've really had to change the way in which I approach associates, I approach situations. So spent a lot more time, really teaching and training, which, 2.5 years ago made me really open my eyes to the fact that we thought we did a good job of really teaching our associates, but when it comes to teaming and empowerment, you realize there's a lot further we have to go in depth with associates. And so really just spending the time with associates, giving them my knowledge as much as possible, but not necessarily giving them tasks or note-oriented direction. So really spending a lot of time encouraging them, showing them, how to take those steps and not being afraid to fail. And that was really the biggest thing that I had to teach myself, is to kind of relinquish that control a little bit more, and same thing with my team.
Yeah, we heard that, Q talked about that a few weeks ago. Vicky talked about that a few weeks ago as well, Alexis.
Yep.
In your mind, in your words, what does it mean to step back? What's a kind of a tactical view or a practical example of what that would look like for a team lead or a coach or whoever you're talking about?
To put it into words, I guess really just taking your hands off, no longer giving that direction that as store managers we're just so ingrained to give daily, but letting them see it through their eyes and then trying to mold them into seeing it before you do. I think that's the biggest thing, is just not being afraid to take your hands off the situation. Instead of getting in there like we're accustomed to doing.
Yeah. That's important. When you do that, sometimes it goes well, sometimes it doesn't go well, right? When it doesn't go well, how do you respond? Like from a leadership perspective, and maybe a team lead made the wrong decision in the morning, didn't work on the right freight, or you come in and the area is not where it needs to be, and they maybe prioritize the work the wrong way, or even may have some leadership challenges. How do you address when things inevitably don't go well?
I think the first thing is you still have to be supportive of them. You've got to at least be supportive that they made a decision, right or wrong decision. They took the chance to stand fast on what they wanted to do, and then really just do a lot of root cause analysis with them. That's the biggest thing I can say is spending the time trying to figure out, okay, you made a decision, but what went wrong in that decision? Was it the complete decision itself? Was there a piece that you missed along the way? And just encouraging them to know that it's okay. We've all made those mistakes. I made them coming up. Everyone does. But it's how do we learn from those mistakes that kind of defines us as leaders, and really getting them to see that and not get down on making a bad decision.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So I know it's kind of easier said than done, but how do you empower your team to take risks? How do you kind of give them that safe space to fail?
I put it back on them a lot. If they come to me with a question or, a problem, I try and put it back on them. Ask them, well, what would you do? You tell me a solution, or come back with me with a couple of solutions, and, we can kind of work through what does that look like on each one. But I have to put it back on them to challenge them. Otherwise, if I keep giving them that information, they're never going to grow. They're always going to rely on me to give it to them.
Absolutely.
One of the things we've talked about, we talk a lot about team leads, right? And how important that role is. And it's probably one of the more important roles in our stores today. But coaches play a key role too. And in some stores, we find coaches are trying to still find their footing. Like, what's my actual role? What do you want me to do, right? Because now we have these team leads that are empowered and they're making all these decisions. And what's my role as a coach? How would you define, or what's your expectations, I guess, of your coaches in your store?
The coaches now have to act just like a co-manager was in the past, or even as a store manager. They have to know what's happening in their business. And I think that's where a lot of the coaches are struggling right now. They're so used to being in the weeds every day or hands-on. And now that we've empowered the team leads to take that piece of it, they're kind of struggling a little bit to find their footing, like you said. And I think they just have to realize you've got to elevate. You've got to don't spend time stocking the freight, but figure out what problems are going on in your area, analyze your business a little bit more. But they should be acting like a store manager of their own area.
Right.
How do you encourage them to kind of like take that step, or to, to reach higher and to move into that next role? How do you kind of give them that? Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot of teaching and training with them still, just like we do with team leads. Anytime we see them kind of falling into old ways, I should say, of just doing it themselves instead of teaching their team to do it, or kind of passing their knowledge on. You got to kind of call it to their attention. Show them, hey, I don't know why you're over there stocking that freight, or why you're doing this right now. Why aren't we looking at the bigger picture? Because that's the same thing we would want them to do with their team leads to help them grow. So it's a lot of kind of eye-opening experiences for them as well through this whole thing.
Greg Foran used to say, do what you can uniquely do from your job. Right? So like, there's some things that you as a store manager can only do, right? That's what you should be doing. You should be doing those things. There's only certain things that a coach should be doing, and they should be focused on that and doing their job well. And it's never going to be 100%. There's probably times where you're stocking freight or you're helping unload the truck every once in a while, right? But it certainly shouldn't be all the time. And so I think that's with coaches is how do we get them to uniquely to do the work that only they can do, because that's what's going to push their teams forward. But I'm just curious, for you personally, do you have any leaders that have made a difference in your life or how you lead? And if you look back on your careers, we all have people that kind of shaped us, right? We all need shaping. Who comes to mind?
I've been blessed to work in a lot of different stores with a lot of great leaders. I've kind of taken a little piece of everything from them. And they've always encouraged me to grow as much as I can. And even my market manager, Matt, Matt Balmer, he's very vocal. And he's taught me, especially through all this process, to really be able to speak openly and honestly, to give that feedback. and that it's okay, right?
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to kind of shine light on the failures, because that's what we need as a company to be able to move it forward. So he's definitely, kind of encouraged me to speak my mind.
Like, what's the favorite part of the job? Where do you get your passion from? What do you love? What gets you up in the morning to go to work every day?
Honestly, it's my team. Seeing my associates grow, just seeing, how they take charge every day. It's all about my team. I would not be as successful as I am without them. So seeing them grow and just continue to evolve every day is what keeps me going.
That's awesome. When you think through, all the things that you've seen that has changed over the past, let's say 3 or 4 years, because it's been a lot. What excites you the most about the company? What excites you where we're going strategically? You heard some stuff on YBM, but John says it's a good time to work at Walmart, and we have a bright future ahead of us for sure. What excites you about that?
The biggest thing that excites me, I think, is the technology piece that we continue to expand on. Being a tech store for the region, we've been getting to see a lot of great innovation coming our way. We're rolling out the Connected Associate POC here, so getting to share that with our associates and really show them, the avenues that we're going to try and make their job easier and how technology, kind of integrates with that. I think that's a great avenue that we're going down.
Yeah, a lot of investment in technology. You want to tell everybody kind of what this the top secret Connected Associate pilot's going to look like in your store?
So we're basically giving every associate the opportunity to have their own device, so a personal Samsung cell phone that they can use for all of their day-to-day operations. So we'll have a new program called VizPick. Makes the capping process a lot easier, more streamlined. Takes them half the time to do it, so it gives them more time to be on the floor, taking care of customers, and gives them more time back versus the old school system that we're kind of used to right now. So no more trying to scrounge around, find devices in the store, spend 30 minutes looking for it. They have it on them at all times. So I think
they're going to take it home, right?
They do, yes. It's theirs to keep and take home and be responsible for.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
It's a big leap. It's a chance to trust our associates to do the right thing and to give them the tools they need to do their job. Part of teaming is getting team associates to own a piece of the store. And because we're such a connected workforce now, that majority of the work that we have, you have to have a device to do the work, right? And so that's where that kind of idea came from, is how do we get a device in their hands so that they can feel like they have a sense of ownership and connectivity to their team and the company. So you're piloting it, and we're looking at Q3, Q4, possibly expanding. So it's all up to you, Tyler. All stores are
no pressure
on your shoulders. If it doesn't go well,
right? Everything's been on me lately.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're testing everything for the company, man.
How do your associates feel? Being in this store where you get to, test a lot of things, how are your associates feeling and reacting to it?
My team actually has really been enjoying all the changes. At first, obviously, very skeptical and hesitant to go through all these changes, but they've seen, the progress and, getting the chance to test things ahead of everybody else kind of gives them that feeling of achievement almost. So they've really come a long way, and my team is now very vocal on things when we have company that come in and ask questions. So they've kind of learned to be able to give that feedback and advice that they're looking for. So it's been fun to watch them.
That's fantastic.
With all the changes and iterations that we've had, and all the change that you've driven from a technology perspective, what's your method of change management? And so what we talk about is a change curve. Everybody has a change curve at the very beginning of change. I don't care who you are, if you're the CEO all the way down to all of us. The first part of that change curve is tough, right? Nobody likes change at the beginning. Then you get a little bit more accepting of it, and then you kind of get over that hump, and you become a champion, and you're the one that is now a champion of the change. And we all kind of have that. Some people can get through it in 15 minutes. Some people it takes 15 months. But we all kind of have this change curve that we go through. How do you manage that in a store of 300 plus people that all have a different curve they're going through? How do you manage that change?
the biggest thing has to be communication. They've got to understand the why and what's in it for them. And that kind of helps people get over that change curve like you were talking about. Because at first they don't understand why we have to change. But if you show them what the end result's going to be or what our goal is, then it starts kind of opening their eyes to, well, maybe it's not so bad, or, kind of getting over that hump. So I think that's the biggest thing, is just being able to communicate to the associates and to your team why we're doing it, what's in it for them, and that gets them through a lot of things.
That's true. That's right. Good stuff. Hey, I really do appreciate it. You're clearly making a difference, not only in your store, and I can say this with confidence, Tyler, you're making a difference with your store, with your associates, but you're also making a difference for the company in the role that you're playing. So Thank you for what you're doing. We're always here to help and support. So if there's anything you need, please reach out.
Absolutely.
Will do. Thank y'all very much. I appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks, Tyler. Have a great day.
To think of all the things that he has witnessed, seen, conversations he's had, change management, all that kind of stuff. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's impressive. He could write a book on change management. Has to be able to.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of change that he's led through in that store is unbelievable. From all the technology to the people changes. I mean, it's incredibly impressive. And the fact that he did it in a way that empowered is unique. Some leaders, when they go through this change, they micromanage it all, right?
Yes.
And they don't fully utilize their team because they want to be successful. They want to do the right thing. And that's what's most comfortable for him. For him, he naturally goes to this place of, it's about my team. It's about training them, bringing them along through the process so they feel like they have ownership. And he's able to lead in that servant leadership mentality. And it shows up in the store. I've been in that store several times. It shows up there. So it's impressive. I took all kinds of things away. But I think the main thing is his approach to leadership and empowerment and how he guides. It's really just a guide, not forcing the change, but guiding his team through that change. And it's a very unique style of leadership that pays off for him. So it was great to catch up.
Yeah, absolutely. I've only known him a very short amount of time, only 2 calls. We go way back.
Yep.
And he just has a very calming presence about him as well. And so imagining what he, how he leads in those type of situations, I can only imagine how stressful and overwhelming that can feel. And pretty incredible to just walk through that very seamlessly. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. All right. Good thing. So appreciate the time, everybody who's listening. Make a chance to learn something today, hopefully, and go out there and make a difference with your teams.
Yes.
And with your customers. And we will see you next week.